Well, I'm just finishing off gessoing this little decorative bag. It's made of glassine, of which I was lucky enough to get a roll of for Christmas from my husband, who is very clever. I had no idea he got it. I'd been thinking about it and looking at them and thinking, a bit expensive, you have to get a whole roll and all this kind of thing. But there it was in a huge, enormous parcel. So this I've just decorated. And let's see if we can see without that. There, does that show it up better? It does a bit. You can see that I've gone not quite to the edges. So, which is my idea for this one. I've done others before where I've gone all the way to the edge. In fact, what I did before was I simply gessoed the whole of a sheet and then made the bag out of the ready gessoed piece. Quite a different style. So this is meant to be a sort of edged piece like this. There we go. So I'm going to do it like that. That one will now be set aside to dry. Now how you make a bag is quite easy. This is the glue I'm using, which is Perfect Paper Adhesive. I've no idea if it's available anywhere else. There you go. It's by ArtQuest. I've had this for a very long time. I mean, I must have bought it 20 odd years ago maybe. And I just found it and I thought, I wonder if that still works. And it works on this beautifully. So there we go. I mean, you could use PVA, I'm sure. But I've got PVA, but it's in a big bottle like this. Decorated PVA. And it's got a nozzle, but this I think is a better nozzle. In any case, it needs using up, you know. So. But I dare say the PVA would work perfectly well. Or something like Collage Podge, I would imagine, would use water-resistant glue, sealer and finish. So if it's a glue, it's a glue. So there you go. I'm now going to glue these down. So I remove that edge, and I'm just going to put the smallest bead of glue along here that I can manage. If I can get it to work. I mean, it's not very small. I dare say if you've got one of those pinpoint applicators, you can get it a lot smaller. There you go. And then I'll move it over. And I like to use a tissue to make sure I'm not getting any glue anywhere I don't want it. And if any floods out, I can cope with it. Of course, if it floods out the other side, it will stick it down. So what I like to do is poke a pair of scissors or something inside, lift it, make sure it's not sticking. That's why I use a small bead, you see. And now I'll just leave that to dry. So while that's drying, I'll do the other one. And I've got another one here that I've already done with a nice serrated edge, which I created using a tearing ruler. I think it's called a tearing ruler. And it's got two patterns on it. It's got the same pattern here along this edge that I used on the top, and it's got another pattern here for a much finer edge, which I've also used on a couple of the bags. So what I do is fold, find out the middle. I try to sort of look how it looks so that it looks about equal, round about. That looks about right. And then do that, glue, and I've got to do this bigger one as well, just to make sure. And I've got an end to do. I can show you an end. Oops. That's a good job I got tissue, isn't it? And I've gone over with that quite a bit. That's what this is for. You can see that I got some on my card underneath. I put that bit of card down for that very reason. To try and stop getting so much stuff on the desk itself. Right. There we go. It is sticking a bit, that end. I think I'll just check. There we go. And this one, and where's the one I was going to do the end of? I had one already prepared, which is now run away. And there it is. So let's do the end first, just to show you. I mean, all I've done with this is I folded it over, unfolded it, trimmed the corners like that with the scissors, you know, just made a nice little angle like that thing, and then cut off this front piece, well, back piece actually, because I'm using the glued in edge as a back, and then I've just got one piece left from the front, which then folds over and makes it quite a nice look. I find that if you fold over both, it's a bit bulky and it doesn't quite look so good. So there you go. So again, glue. Small bead if you can manage it. And bend it over. There we go. Smooth it out. See, we're not just doing this to be neat, we're also doing it to make sure that the glue spreads over as large an area as is possible without sticking the other side. So making sure that it's open. There you go. I am just finishing off doing this bag. I like to go near the edge but not quite to it. So we've got a nice sort of edge to it, as neat as little old clumsy me can manage, of course. And a little bit more. And I said I wouldn't make you watch painting, but it's just showing where the edge is. There we are. So I've got a nice edge. I don't mind that it's sort of scratchy there. I like that because I want the method to show. So there we are. And we'll now let that dry, and then we'll go to the next stage. So this one, I haven't done the top yet on this one, so I thought I would do one of these. I can either do this one, which is a Friscars one that I bought specifically because I wanted this pattern. It's a stamp pattern edge, you know, the postage stamp sort of edger. And I'll just go. Just got to line it up a bit. Kind of difficult when there's bits fritting about. There you go. That's kind of nice. There's a lovely stamp edge. Or I can do a bigger one with that. That's another one of the sets that came, so they won't be quite such good scissors. The Friscars ones are very good, I know. And there's another slightly more ragged one, which is a cross between a ragged and a patterned one. So you can do whatever kind you like. So those are now done, and that's got its nice surface gessoed ready for doing things with, and they're all the right size, these two, for me to put these other ones inside. And you don't have to do it out of glassine or waxed paper. Imagine, we get parcels all the time. If you're a crafter, you have to get your supplies. So you can get packaging that things come in, this kind of stuff, and I just made a little bag out of that. You can put things in it, and it doesn't matter that it's got a raggedy edge. I like the raggedy edge. I deliberately left it like that because I liked it. So that's that one. And then there's the other kind of packaging, which is a little bit better condition, no funny holes in it, and I thought I might do one with that. Let me have a go. So I've been smoothing this out and trying to even it up. And I like the way it's got this dishiness to it. That's rather good. Almost as if it was done deliberately. So I like that. So I'm going to glue that one down. Probably need some sort of weight to weight it down. Let's see if I've got a nice weight. Which I know I've got down here. Which is my hefty great weight. It's at least going to weigh down some of it. And probably a bottle for the rest. Like that one. Or that one. It's a bit light, that one. But there we go. So, gonna do this. This brown stuff, that other one that I did before, I found it quite absorbent, so you need a little bit more glue for that. Because it just absorbs straight in. I found that I had to do it twice. So you can see where it's not quite gone, so I'm going to do a bit more further along. There we go. Oh, we don't want that there. Or there. So. So where's my tissue? You know I like to use a tissue to clean the inside, make sure there's no squiggles. If there are, I can even see them. Yeah, that was a bit close to the edge, that one. So I'm probably going to have to do that quite a bit. And I think what I'll need to do is this side as well, just to make sure that there's no glue going to go on the other side. There we are. So now I've got somewhere a piece of card which I've been using for the other bags. So that doesn't matter so much if it sticks to that. Then I can use that to hold it down. So that it doesn't fall onto the underneath sheet and put goo on it. There we go. So those can sit there and set. Or maybe they'll sit there out the way. So there we go. And what else? Well, I thought I might have a go with a piece of this. I got some flowers. Wasn't that nice of him? And this was wrapped around it. Lovely, lovely material. It's just a stiff tissue, the flower wrapping type stiff tissue. And I've got some little bits of sellotape to take off, but that would be great. And then it also had this. I don't know what it is. Some kind of cellophane was wrapped around the flowers, but it's perfectly clear, and that's going to make gorgeous ones. And then there's this, which is another type of packing. You can see it's a slightly different colour to this one. It's more sort of schooly. You know, it feels less... This is sort of slick, almost like craft paper, but not quite. This is more like the thing you find in a school, I thought. So I will go use a bit of that. So in order to do that, I'm going to have a go with this one. This pair of scissors, and I'm going to cut this off. So that we've got a straight, well, a decorative straight edge. This is quite a good pair of scissors. It's cutting all the way along its length. Isn't that nice? Oh, well. Right, I've just stuck this piece of packaging together. Created a big tube. It's not going to stay a tube. Now then, what do I do with my scissors? Here we are. What I'm planning on is cutting it in half right down the middle. So that way I will have two. So what I'm going to do, to make sure I don't make too much of a mess, is fold it down the middle so I know where the middle is. It's easier. Then I can just cutty, no problemo. Because I could have cut it with the scissors like I did before, this style of scissor. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to neaten up this end with the same ones. What did I do with them? Is it that one? It's that one. So I'm just going to sort that out, as it looks alright from one direction. Not necessarily from another. Trouble is, the thing keeps trying to fold open. I just want to neaten it up enough for it to look as if it was done nicely. Well, for it to be done nicely. They do say that if your scissors seem to be getting somewhat non-sharp, blunting up, if you cut some kitchen foil with them, things will be much nicer. But that's okay as it is. There we are. I'll probably have to do the same with this one, but in the meantime, what I've got is a couple of nice pockets, right sort of size. Gives you a nice area to work with, you see. I mean, if I want to just do something on this, I'll probably put gesso on, because then I can do stuff. But the other thing you can do, which I intend to test out today, is you can print on them. Well, you can print on the glassine, because I've seen somebody doing it, but I'm fairly sure you can print on this. But it's quite absorbent, so it may end up with a dull result. But we'll see, we'll see. I mean, the other option, of course, is to print on ordinary paper and just tape it to the front, stick it down to the front. Like, for instance, if you look at these previous ones I've done, that one's got a piece of card that was previously printed and cut out on it, and these two have gesso ready to go, so I can just paint on those or do anything I like these others in here. For instance, I wonder what happened with that one. I had another one with a pretty thingy on it. Probably still in here. Yeah. There you go. That one. But then there's also the other way of doing things, which is the gesso and doing things with it. I'm stamping on these. And on these I've got stamped on tissue put on. So it's another step. And these pieces here, which I absolutely love, those are raspberry or strawberry, can't remember which, fruit packaging, the stuff that goes in the bottom to help absorb all the juices when it leaks out. So there you go. There's your options. And with printing included as well, I'm going to have a lot of fun with that. Now I'm going to try stamping into this with the Eye of Horus I have carved here, with just some water sprayed onto it, just a little bit. I'm going to stamp directly into it. It probably won't work. Trying to get an impression. I would have gone in with the ink, I think, might have been a better idea. But actually, as you can see, I have got something, so that's great. I will now go around the edge with the other things. That's going to have to go and have a wash pretty soon. But something like that, which has some pattern to it, I'm going to have a go with that. Let's give that some colour. And what else can I try? I think I might do a little bit of the anchor, because the anchor's got quite a good thing is, I'm not sure whether I should go with the water or go with the ink. There's quite a bit of definition, little tiny detailing here, and that's not going to show up. Not in a million years. No. But there we go. So I think I'd like to have another go with that one. But I still want to put a bit of colour on. And I'm using my Napkin Poop to make sure I don't leave bits in my ink pad. And then not too bad. Clean it up, I think, just to make quite sure. That's underneath. There we are. Now I'm going to go and wash these because I don't want to mess them up. So there we go. I'm going to leave that to dry now. Before it's dry, I'm just going to show you that we have got the Eye of Horus there. So we'll see how that comes out. Right, well, here we are with the Napkin Poop texture, now dry. So I want to put colour over this, but if you feel it when you've done this, there are some really sharp bits, and that's not good for sponges if you want to put colour on. Say using it off a stamp pad, or even from a spray that you put at on your mat, which I haven't got down at the moment, but there we are. So, in order to get rid of those sharp bits, I'm going to use a sanding block. And it doesn't take much. If you find something particularly sharp, just go over it a few times so you get it nice and smooth. Sandy bits. Now, a little bit more on there, I think. Now, then I would go over it. Let's use some more old pumpkin poop with a bit of that, just to get rid of the dustiness. And there you go. And then you just pick what colours you want to do and how you want to do them. Just wondering which way. Let's put a mat down. This is a nice one because I can use this with heat if I want to. Right, so I think I'm going to use that one and pops those two. Oops, that one. I've got here a lava red cosmic shimmer. I've got a purple violet cosmic shimmer and a peacock green, and there's this one which is the oldest one, Egyptian blue. So I don't want to put this everywhere, so I'm just going to use a little bit. I'm going to have a go with the violet anyway, because I've tried that before. It's a lovely colour. So I'm going to put a little bit on there, and then use the sponge and not quite as successful as I'd hoped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over it completely with this, so that it's all over all of it. So it's a base colour. But I don't want it as strong as I would get if I'd simply sprayed with it onto the paper, I mean. So because there's glue in here as well as the gesso, I'm not getting the same effect as I would get if it was just gesso. So the glue's giving it a bit of a resist. So I'm still getting the blue showing. I'm still getting valleys. You're seeing it. And where the words are, I'm getting an impression, you see, which is quite good, considering I wasn't thinking it was going to do that. Yes, I'm liking that better than I thought I would. Yes, I like that. Good. So what I would do next, once that has dried, is go over it with some distress ink, using the normal practice of using one of these and a little, where's my flip? So probably something darkish. We'll see what we get. But I'm quite pleased with that. More pleased than I thought I was going to be when I started with it. Yes. There you go. I'm going to go rinse everything out now, so I'll see you later. Now my camera was going in and out of focus, and part of the video I made of this particular bag, I'm afraid it's just vanished into the dark recesses of wherever damaged videos go. It's gone. It's vanished. What I was doing was I used napkin poop on here with Mod Podge. I then went over it with gesso, white gesso, and then I stamped into that before it was dry. I did all that before it was dry, and I stamped with these 3 stamps. I used the Eye of Horus there, and I used this little swirl there and there, and I used the anchor there and there. The bit you didn't see, you saw that, the bit you didn't see was when I went over it using a sponge and this Cosmic Shimmer spray in Purple Violet. I went over it, but you barely saw what I'd done. It picked this up quite nicely, but not as nicely as this. I went over this with some paints afterwards, re-stamped some of them. And I also, before the napkin poop had dried, stamped into the napkin poop with some letter stamps. These are just stamps that I got from the works. You can see they weren't very expensive. And I didn't use those inks. I just stamped straight in. And I went over that with, I think, a black pen, or it might have been black paint. I really cannot remember. Either way would do perfectly well. And I went over, I stamped with the hydrangea blue stays on, and I went over it with the sponge afterwards with this purple violet cosmic shimmer mist colour. And that's how we got that effect. I did go over this eye as well, you know, painting in a bit of an iris and some pattern in it. And there we go. It's quite a nice little one. It's on the grey paper with a nice stampy, sort of quite large stamp effect, postage stamp effect cut along there. And that's that.